You're so close.
It's like,
One day we'll just edit that song to be the right length, and then you won't have to worry about it. It'll be great.
well, look, I took the time to get that buttered sausage thing.
You did. So, hey, thanks for finding the geek spot. We already got so much love coming in.
So much love. So much love.
Chat is blowing up even before we started. Look at all that.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for coming out to watch us or sitting there and watching us, because we're not out anywhere that you could see. Maybe one day. Maybe that's a thing we could think about one day.
Sure.
A live show at a place.
We could work on that.
Yeah.
As soon as we can advertise it on YouTube with all our clips.
Oh, how was your video this week? I think I missed your video.
It was similar to yours.
Was it?
From last month, yes. So, yeah, thanks for finding the geek spot, everybody. Thanks for joining. We got lots of good stuff to talk about.
Actually, prepared.
Look at that. Is that printed?
It is. It's actually, yes.
On news radio?
I'm trying something
It's
different.
it's the shuffling of the papers makes it sound more.
It is. I don't have a ticker. I need to get a ticker. Like KYW back in the day.
I think they still do that for the.
No, they got rid of it.
Oh,
they actually put a news report out that they were getting rid of the ticker tape.
Oh, wow.
Thing in the back. Yeah. So how are you doing? How was your week?
Good. Busy. Got gigs all over the place and kids starting school and all that. And I finally actually made it out to the movies.
No way.
Yeah, I've been catching up on shows, the little bit that are dropping here and there. Dylan, Dom, Charles, good to see all you. I went and took the kids, saw Blue Beetle. I was gonna drop a review, but I wanted to wait and give you the opportunity to see the movie first before I dropped my review on YouTube.
You can review that. It's safe. it's safe.
You're not gonna help save it in the box office? Your AMC insider could save that entire franchise. Make it a trilogy.
It's all right. I'm okay. I'm okay with this one. I saw Dom's review. Dom's review was good.
We'll look at it in a few.
Yeah.
But yeah, that and Harley Quinn's still going. Adventures with Superman's still going.
Not all of Harley Quinn's going.
I finally caught up on. Wow, that was dark to start. Wow, and I finally caught up on that Tales of the Jedi show to kind of prep for some of the other Jedi shows that are coming out.
Oh, okay.
So keeping busy on that side. How about you, man? I think there's a birthday in order, isn't there?
I'm lazy. It's not my birthday. No, my youngest son turned 21 tonight. So I took him around the bar after work and I got him a shot, his first shot. My oldest son turned 21 during the pandemic. So it was a little, bit of a down, but I got my oldest son a shot of Jameson and I videoed him and he was cringed and recoiled from it. The green tea shot went down better. My youngest son, we took him around Brick House and got him a shot of Jameson and he took it like a champ. And I said, that's your first legal shot with me. Is that your first shot? And he just kind of looked at me and he went, not really. And I went, okay. I'm like, you're 21 now. Whatever you say, whatever happened in the past, I can't be mad now. And he goes, I've had some before. I was like, okay.
I mean, I walked in for my 18th and said, hey, we decided to start blended Snapple and vodka. Try it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I told him, I was like, what am I going to get mad at? You're 21 now. I can't get mad at shit you did in the past.
So parenting tips from Frank for anybody that needs them.
Yes.
Kids, do what you want before you're 21. Just don't tell your parents.
Look, man, they didn't do drugs. They didn't really drink. They didn't smoke. I figure I'm ahead in the game.
You're doing good.
That's what I thought. Other than that, I have shockingly been lazy. I've been Just run down. Haven't really watched much of anything. The Peloton came the other day, and
Cool.
I did 12 minutes out of a 20-minute beginner workout before my cheeks were on fire.
Got it.
Yes, even with I ordered the fat guy seat because the little seat.
Yeah, I'm not a bike fan.
No, the fat guy seat helps.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So I've kicked the Bang habit. I don't drink Bang anymore.
Okay.
No, now it's Celsius.
Is there caffeine in Celsius?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
There's, but there's zero sugar. It's
Yeah.
gluten free. It's kosher,
Oh,
and it's
well,
a non-GMO drink.
that's I don't believe most of that, but that's fine.
There's no high fructose corn syrup, no aspartame, and no
Yeah.
artificial colors. And there's essential vitamins.
That's good. It's good. I don't know how you're sugar-free, sweet, and don't have aspartame, but that's
You know
fine.
what? It got me off Bang right
You
now.
might have sucralose, so that's fair. It's fine. I started drinking Monster to make up for it, so it's fine.
Boy. That's what flavor?
There's so many flavors.
No, what flavor do you drink though?
Whatever flavor I pick,
Oh.
I'm not
Oh,
I'm not a one flavor kind of guy.
I just like the yellow one. I just like the yellow one. But no, other than that, I haven't really, I haven't even caught up on my Aquaman documentary that I've been watching on the side.
Yeah.
I did try Twisted Metal. I got most of the way through the first episode, I think. I really just need to sit and dig into it.
Yeah.
My attention hasn't been.
I'm dying to review it, so
I mean,
I almost remembered. It's been a little while since it came out.
If you want to talk about it tonight, that's fine. I'm not really worried about spoilers with that.
Look,
I'm not worried about Oppenheim spoilers.
There's nothing from the game to spoil, right? But season 2 looks like it's going to be the game, which is way more fun.
Yeah.
Season 1 was an absolute blast. I loved season 1.
He just left the city.
Yeah, you're not even started yet. I mean, it's
right.
So the fascinating thing for me with that, and same thing with Poker Face, and same thing with all the stuff they've done on Peacock so far, is they all feel and are written like USA shows.
Okay.
Right, where they're like, there's going to be this overarching storyline for like a couple seasons,
right?
But like, we're going to do episodic TV in short form. So it's like 6 or 10 or 10 half-hour episodes, right?
Yep.
Which everyone is completely self-contained, but it gets you to the next one. So it's totally episodic television, which you don't get much of anymore.
Right.
And it's much more effective in a 10-episode season than it is in these like 24-episode seasons where you're like, oh, this is filler and we're not moving more.
Shit. Sorry, I clicked on something.
I thought you read the most recent comment about can't wait to hear your thoughts about Barbie.
No, I actually have not seen Barbie yet, but when I do eventually get back to the movies, things at the house have been a little hectic last couple of weekends. I haven't even gone to the pool, dude. When I do get back to the movie theater, Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Mission Impossible are on my list. Indiana Jones is going to have to wait for Plex.
Well, Indiana Jones drops tomorrow.
Does it? Oh, that's awesome.
Digitally, yes.
You know what else drops digitally on September 1st?
What's that?
The Wheel of Time Season 2 debacle.
Oh, that's exciting.
Not really.
Oh, Season 2's not good?
Season 1 wasn't good either.
Well, look.
Look. Yeah.
If you're a book purist, I enjoyed Season 1 plenty because I never read the books and don't have the time to read 1,000-page books anymore.
Yes. That actually fits really well. That does. That makes
so the storyline to me was fine because I didn't feel like they missed all sorts of stuff.
They missed so much stuff. It's not even funny. And they recast one of the characters.
Well, yeah, because he quit in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah, nobody still.
Because they filmed most of this season during the pandemic, if I remember right.
Yeah. See, look, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole with this thing, but if they made it 10 to 12 episodes, I think it would be better. And if they stuck to each season being a book, it would help it a lot more for me.
I thought the first season was a book.
The first season was like a book and a half, 2 books.
Got it.
And because I guess, it's hard. He doesn't know how many seasons he's actually going to get. And he's got this, 15-book story to tell. And, that's, like you said, it's 1,000+ pages a book almost.
Yeah. The show still feels like, I don't know if you remember Legend of the Seeker. It's what it feels like to me 100%. And I love that show, but I think it was only on 2 seasons. But
Well,
it was this was back in the day for all the kids on the show. This is back before, DVRs and being able to really figure out when things were on TV, well, without buying a TV guide. And it
the
was on like Saturdays at like 3, maybe.
I
Maybe
love
2, depending on if there was a sports
I
something
love
going on.
I love sitting there looking at the TV guide.
But Legend of the Seeker was a great show.
I remember it. I don't know if I watched it, but I remembered it.
Well, Bridget Regan from that show actually came back on Gotham as one of the Poison Ivies. The 17 Poison Ivies as they aged her up and down and all around as that show progressed.
Yeah. So it's been a rough week to like in the sadness. It's been a rough week, right? So WWE superstar Bray Wyatt passed away at 36 years old earlier this week, or last week. Terry Funk, who was 873 years old, passed away.
I heard about both of those.
Yeah.
I'm generally familiar with Terry Funk. Have no clue who the other guy is, but
No,
he was very beloved.
Not watching wrestling, you wouldn't. He was one of the more like supernatural type wrestlers in the vein of the Undertaker, but not the Undertaker. Very entertaining. Terry Funk, obviously, yeah. I mean, if you haven't heard, you watched Roadhouse, and he's been in a couple of Stallone movies, I think, way back in the 80s.
Got it. I mean, I remember him wrestling, so.
Right. Oh, yeah. I remember him wrestling, too. Arlene Sorkin passed away, the voice of Harley Quinn.
I hate the fact that I had no idea who she was or that she was the original voice of Harley Quinn.
I know you texted me.
I really thought it was Tara Strong that whole stretch, not realizing that she didn't pick up till the video games.
No. And then the big one that hit my childhood. And there's a joke to this that people have been saying, and it's actually kind of funny. But Bob Barker passed away at 99 years old, and the meme joke going around is that he got the closest to $1 without going over.
Yeah,
which is really, in a way, a touching tribute. But all the sick days at home watching The Price is Right every morning, all summer long watching The Price is Right in the morning. It's sad. It's been a rough week for Hollywood.
It's weird how, he was 99 right before his birthday, right? Betty White, same thing. Stan Lee, 99. Like all these big celebs, almost make it to 100. And there's something that's like, nah, it's gonna right before you get there and get that bash. We're gonna stop it for you.
Dom, yeah, people more like a little bit younger than you really get the Bray Wyatt thing. He's actually the son. His real name is Wyndham Rotunda. He is the son of Mike Rotunda, who is a wrestler that you might recognize if you saw him. Name-wise, probably not, but he also is related to Barry Windham, who was one of the original Four Horsemen. Or not the original Four Horsemen, but one of the Four Horsemen back in the day of wrestling. It was very sad. A lot of wrestlers his symbol was the firefly. Whenever he would come into the arena, they would black out the arena and everybody would hold up their cell phone lights as fireflies. And a lot of group of wrestlers got little firefly tattoos for them. And it's rough. But as we move forward, Dune 2 has been delayed to 2024.
There's some pluses to this. So I don't know if you watched the trailer for yet, and I'm sure you've watched Dune 1 multiple times now.
I'm actually going to hold off on Dune 1 until 2024. I watched the original and I hated it. I did. I tried to read the book when I was younger because all my friends were like, "This is so awesome." No, it sucked to me. But I'm older.
Star Wars is based on Dune, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Is it?
Yeah. It's 100%.
So I definitely will.
It's a desert planet with the chosen one.
Oh boy. Okay. It's moving from November 2023 to March 2024. And I guess the good news is because it's already filmed, right? It's ready to go now.
Yeah.
If I remember. But because of the strike, they can't promote it.
Correct.
So delaying it because they still have no idea when this strike's going to end. They're no closer to ending it than they were a week ago.
Yeah, the other reason being, right, without promotions for this, because the first one, they don't know how well it did or would have done, right? Because you have a lot of stars in it, but none that are verified box office stars, right? Like Zendaya, not a verified box office star by any stretch of the imagination, right? Spider-Man is
Right.
Zendaya? I don't know.
No.
Timothy Chalamet, I don't know. We'll find out when Wonka drops, right? Like
Well,
if he's a Hollywood star or not. We don't really know. He's critically acclaimed. But I think it's good to hold it because the first one was one of the movies that released same day HBO Max as it did in theaters. So they have
right,
no idea what the box office could have been. And it was in the middle of the pandemic.
right.
The big plus for this releasing later is it opens up the IMAX window for for the Marvels, because
Oh,
previously the Marvels was not going to drop in IMAX
okay.
because Dune had a 6-week block on
Wow,
all IMAX theaters
wow.
because it was filmed to be shown in IMAX. So it already had that locked in. So now that opens up this stretch
Okay.
for the Marvels, and the Marvels may actually even move up a week.
I will I was actually low key waiting for the second one to be released in theaters so I could then watch the first one and see because I hate that long, you know,
Yeah, I
delay
watched the first
between.
one on a plane, and I was pleasantly surprised with how good it was.
Okay.
'Cause I didn't
I'm
expect it to
into
be
it.
great. Because I saw the first one, I think not in the theater for sure, but I definitely saw it 4 or 5 times. It was always on, like, in the background on whatever
The
channel it was
original one?
running on. Huh?
The original one?
Yeah, yeah, the one from the '80s. Um, and then they did do a series too on Sci-Fi that was apparently pretty good, but
I
didn't get to go far enough into the story to make a difference.
Look, I watched the right stuff in a movie theater when I was younger, so
Yeah,
Dune wasn't on my list.
it's fair.
Um, Also, Godzilla X Kong,
Mhm.
the new Empire also delayed from April 2024, or delayed to April 2024. Craven and Ghostbusters also pushed to 2024. Darn, I'm so sad Craven got pushed. I hope they keep
They
pushing.
can keep pushing it. Yeah, keep going.
So far, as far as the WB goes, they have not moved Aquaman yet, Wonka, or The Color Purple, which they're doing a musical.
I've seen 0 ads for The Color Purple. Wonka, I think will be okay because there's not a lot coming out against it.
Right.
The Marvels, will be fine. Aquaman, we'll see. I haven't even seen a trailer yet, and we're
I
not that far away from it.
No, and it's another thing that they can't really promote it anyway.
No, but I mean, just dropping the trailers promotion enough for that. Jason Momoa, I feel like, and maybe not really a verified star either, right? Box office. Like we keep
No,
assuming that notoriety equals box office star, and it didn't even work for Tom Cruise this year. So like,
no, but
and
he
Tom
hit
Cruise is a legit movie star,
didn't the
and
first Aquaman hit 1 billion?
it did.
Wouldn't that put
There
him
was a,
in star status?
but he's done one, right?
Okay,
He's had $1 billion movie.
oh,
Um,
he's in Fast and the Furious. Whatever.
yeah, but the
He's a
latest one
Broadside star.
not as big as all the other ones.
Stop it. Yes,
It
he
was fine. It was in and out, man. Nobody cares about family anymore. But I
Yo!
mean, he also did Slumberland.
Mhm.
So, and he was tagged at the end of The Flash. So,
Well,
not great visibility. And it's got Amber Heard. It has some challenges.
yeah.
I mean, look, getting that movie off the books after Blue Beetle now and getting that movie done, getting that out of the way and getting a release between Amber Heard and not being tied to the DC universe going forward, like just release it, get it done.
Yeah.
Get it off the books, write it
Yep.
off for this year and be done.
Yep. Um, yeah, Dom messaged me, the other day or tagged me in a post that The Flash was on video on demand, and I just ignored him.
It's on HBO Max now. Dropped on HBO Max
I
over the
saw
weekend.
that, and I totally ignored you. Also, our friend Jimmy Wooten, who sometimes drops in, texted me. We were talking about some other stuff, and he just dropped in. By the way, I saw The Flash and I loved it. And I replied, I know you're going through a lot right now, so I'm just going to smile and nod to you. Um, he actually really enjoyed the movie, and you know, it's a cool.
Look,
People,
if I didn't dislike Esther Miller so much, it may have had a shot.
yeah,
Um, but
I
the fact that they keep trying to explain it, and look, if it's on a smaller screen, I bet the CGI doesn't look as bad as it does at like 50 feet or whatever.
Probably not. And the only thing Jimmy commented was that he did not like Zod as the villain, and I agreed.
No, because it doesn't make any sense to make Zod the villain in a Flash
No.
movie.
Here's fun Zack Snyder news for you. You'll like this one. Zack Snyder is interested in making a Gears of War movie, but the original creator will only agree to let Zack Snyder have it if Dave Bautista is cast and plays a central character, Marcus, which
That's fair.
Bautista has been really trying to get after for a while. Netflix currently has it, and Netflix has a sensational deal with Zack Snyder. They really, really like him. So there's a possibility that might happen if Batista's not cast in any James Gunn stuff coming up.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'd like to see a good Gears of War movie, so I hope Zack Snyder doesn't do it.
I have nothing to say about that. It'll definitely be a dark movie. Won't be any light.
Look, no, but Army of Darkness pretty brightly lit, and it was super fun. So was Army of Thieves.
And Rebel Moon's out, right?
No, comes out into the year,
Okay.
but they are promoting the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because there's so little news coming out now, all of my news feed is just absolute garbage now, and a lot of it's related to this and this that you hate to hear. Confirmed what we always suspected. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yes, we suspected the movie was delayed because they just announced it. Like, you have to read 10 pages into the article to get there.
Yeah. There was a trailer at Gamescom for the live action Fallout. Now, I'm actually more interested in this. The video game Fallout.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been in the works for a while. It's Amazon Prime. So far, in the trailer, they showed the Brotherhood of Steel marching across a desert and their vertibird vehicles. That sounds kind of awesome, actually.
Sure. I don't know what any of that means. This is
played
not the Kevin Hart one, right? That's different.
Not the Kevin Hart one. That's Borderlands. Fallout is the Bethesda the game that you're stuck in the vault. Then you come out of the vault, and the whole world was decimated by nuclear explosions. And it's a very 1950s themed world.
Okay.
Walter Goggins is in it. He plays a ghoul, similar to Fallout 4's John Hancock. If anyone has played Fallout 4, he looks really good in the makeup in the picture I saw. That's going to be an interestingly fun show, I think. It sounds like they're going to do it right. Video game stuff has gotten better, the adaptations.
Well, I think the stories in video games have continued to get better, and they finally realized in TV that there's a better way to adapt it than trying to cram a 30-hour video game into a 90-minute movie. Hey, let's make it a 10-hour TV show. Oh, exactly. There's actually room to do some storytelling there.
And there was one surprise little thing I saw. There's a show that's on Amazon Prime that you and I are both pretty fond of.
Is there?
Is there? Yes.
What's that?
Upload.
Oh, yeah.
Upload season 3, October 20th.
Oh, thank God.
Right?
Something to look forward to.
Right? I that was like completely.
So season 2 is a little sketchy, but
it was completely out of left field that dropped. That I saw that article today, and I was like, oh my God, Dom, no, I did not watch Ezra in the Flash over the weekend. No.
Frank doesn't turn on television.
Well,
it's fine.
Sometimes Destiny's back right now. So
yeah.
I was playing a lot of Baldur's Gate and, a lot of playing back into Destiny a little bit, and Starfield's coming out.
Never heard. I have too much content to watch for this show that I don't have time to play all these video games.
Right, and I have too much video games to play to have content. I rely on you.
Are we in DC still then?
We could go wherever you want. The only other real big thing I have left is the Ahsoka stuff that I'm actually really dying to get into. So we'll you go wherever you want right now.
Yeah. So I want to hit a couple DC things. So
absolutely.
One, to go back to, I'll have to check that out. Charles has said the Killer Clowns from Outer Space video game trailer's out.
Oh, that looks
I'll have to go look at that.
That sounds good.
So a quick update on Harley Quinn. For anybody still not watching it, go do yourself a favor and go watch Harley Quinn. The seasons continue to be great. Chris Maloney's back pretty full time as the James Gordon with the drinking problem and mentally unstable. That's hilarious. And Alan Tudyk's back as the Joker right now, and you got a lot of other characters that have come back in. They've done some really neat things to Harley Quinn's storyline. She joined the Bat family for this season. And how that's working out for the Bat family and for her has been super fun on the show. and we got the Masters of Disaster, which is from a couple different comic books, but they introduced a female version of the Legion of Doom for that. So that's been fun too. And if you don't want raunchy, blood splattering all over the place humor, Adventures with Superman that comes out every Friday has one episode left this season. Comes out this Friday. I would binge it before you get there. It is great.
How many episodes
Still
is this?
9. They're
9?
so easy. So 20-minute episodes, man. I keep telling you,
Okay.
it's the Superman that I've been asking for since we got Man of Steel.
And that's on Max?
It is. It's on Max.
Okay.
It's a younger version. Jimmy and Clark are best friends coming out of college, going to do an internship at the Daily Planet. And the vet reporter who's like been an intern for 6 months is Lois Lane.
Nice.
And then you get the development of their story. You get Task Force X involved. You get some classic Superman heroes. You get to watch him learn how to use his powers as it goes. But you get that he's good because he wants to be good.
Do they still do the stuff back on the farm?
There's a little bit. He still doesn't know where he's from or anything, so they haven't dug into his heritage really.
Okay.
And it's a different Kryptonian story as you evolve through the season than what we've seen.
Gotcha.
A lot of the time.
No Kawachi Caves?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Maybe season 2.
Maybe. But it's great all around. It's just super fun. They have some good guest stars, some great voice actors are on the show. They have Terminator in there, but he's younged up. You get Mr. Mixoplex, you get Parasite, you get a lot of classic villains, but all with new spins. And unlike usually, I'm not mad at any of it because as long as it's a good take, I don't care if you go way far from the source material. And as long as you don't try and say this is the new canon, which we see plenty of times. I also don't mind if you stray from the source material as long as it's good and written well.
Holy
and
shit.
This is actually one of those shows.
Holy shit.
I know. So speaking of that, so Blue Beetle.
I'm speechless at the positivity right now.
Is well, we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah.
So Blue Beetle is a week and a half out now. Confirmed biggest box office disappointment of the DCEU ever. Even worse than any of the movies that came out during the pandemic. Shazam 2, Wonder Woman 1984.
That's a shame because I like the kid. I like the kid that plays Blue Beetle a lot.
So little background for anybody listening that does not know about Blue Beetle. You do get snippets of this in the beginning, but they kind of play it in the movie as like they show you a bunch of newspaper clippings, which if you don't know, you need to pay attention to because it tells you the entire history of Blue Beetle. You're lost, and they kind of introduce it as we go.
Right.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Dom throwing some notes in here. I was thinking about me when he saw Blue Beetle because everything I said I didn't want, they did in the movie. So that's true, and I'll get to those points in a minute. But I want to give a little Blue Beetle background for even people that saw it might not know. So Blue Beetle, the original character, is one of the Charlton Comics characters. It was a different company than DC. That went out for public domain. DC ended up buying them in the 70s into the 80s. So characters like Blue Beetle were there. Captain Atom came from there. The Question. Those were all those characters, as well as Peacemaker and Nightshade and a couple other ones that they were like, we don't know how to integrate these characters into our universe because they're, from somewhere else. So one of the reasons they did Crisis on Infinite Earths was to combine all these different properties they'd purchased and be able to relaunch all these characters. So Blue Beetle was from one of those comic acquisitions. So, and the cool thing with that is the character originally was Dan Garrett, who was introduced as like a mystic hero who in the ancient Egypt and actually on another island in wherever, they don't really say where it is, in Pago Island, which they mentioned in the movie, found a scarab that gave him mystical powers and he became the Blue Beetle. He had he could fly, he could do all sorts of crazy stuff. Had like red prisms for eyes as he took over his powers. And by day was Indiana Jones. He was an archaeology professor. So, and when Ted Cord was a college student, Dan Garrett was his teacher, and he was like his TA and like star pupil. And one day Dan Garrett got super injured as the Blue Beetle and came and Ted found him. And then Dan Garrett passed away and Ted was like, I'm going to carry on your legacy. Ted Cord just happened to come from a lot of money. So Ted Kord's Blue Beetle, which was my Blue Beetle, which is the one from the 80s, the one in Crisis, the one who had his own series in the 70s, and then again right after Crisis came out, and then was reinvented in Justice League's run after Legends, when they reinvented Justice League with Martian Manhunter, Booster Gold, Fire Ice, Guy Gardner.
Is
I've
that
talked about it a few times.
Smallville?
Which one?
Ted Kord? No.
I mean, they reference him a ton in Arrow.
Right, but I mean, is that the one that actually showed up in the episode of Smallville?
No, that's still That's still Jaime.
Gotcha.
But Ted Kord was the Blue Beetle for all of that.
Okay.
When they did a series in the 2000s, Dan DiDio, when he was running DC into the ground, they did an Infinite Crisis, and but to touch on the Ted Kord piece real quick. So Ted Kord was like a serious-ish character, like always had the quips and the like Spider-Man meets Batman, basically. Okay. But he had a huge bug he flew around in. It was similar to in Watchmen, you see Night Owl's big owl.
Sure. You just froze. Or did I freeze? One of us froze. Oh, not me. Phew. Okay, Jack froze. So, I'm just gonna kind of tread water until he comes back, because I'm not starting the Ahsoka stuff until he's back, and he's through his.
It's me that's frozen.
Oh, thank God! Yeah, I said I was going to tread water until you came back, and you're back. Good.
Okay, is it still me that's back? Okay,
you're back.
Great.
I'm still here, right?
Yeah. Where'd I cut out?
You cut out at the Blue Beetle car. No, a little bit past.
Oh, the Beetle ship that they did, like the version in Watchmen.
Yep, WB pulled your plug. That's what happened.
Yeah. So he came out like that, and then he really became like comic relief in Justice League. So in Justice League with Booster Gold, the two of them became like, blue and gold, and just comic relief for the next like 15 years or so.
Right.
And then they aged him up a little bit, and then Max Lord, who was the leader, the guy that reformed Justice League and everything, killed Ted Kord at the beginning of Infinite Crisis. And they said, oh, well, part of this Infinite Crisis, we can't not have a Blue Beetle. So then they introduced Jaime Reyes during the countdown to Infinite Crisis, and you got that character came up. So that character's only been around about 20 years, a little less than 20 years as this current version. The Smallville one you're referencing was Jaime Reyes. I just read another review or reminder about that, where they did the crazy, horrible armor, but it was a story of like this young kid trying to become a superhero.
Right.
And it was a parallel to Clark's journey when he didn't know how to be a hero and had to figure it out too.
Right.
Blue Beetle's also in the first episode of DC's Brave and the Bold with Batman. The one with oh God, what's his name? As the voice from Drew Carey show. Security card in Jane Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh, I know who you mean.
Yeah, him.
And say, oh, what a lovely tea party.
Yes, him. You'll remember the name.
I do not know his name.
It starts with a D. That's all I got. So anyway, about the actual movie. So it's definitely a movie about family. So I don't know why you haven't seen it yet, Frank, because this kid gets zero character development for the full 2 hours he's on screen. Dietrich Bader. Yeah. Yes. So you get Jaime's supposed to have been like the first one to graduate college, and he has all these big things, but then, we do a lot of digging into stereotypes and challenges that the Latino community face in the United States, and it goes heavy into that for the first 45 minutes of the movie.
Does he learn karate?
No. Okay. No, he doesn't. He has no reason to know how to do any kind of fighting, but luckily his symbiote does, because Blue Beetle is really a cross between Venom and Iron Man and Metamorpho and Plastic Man. I
got that from the commercials.
Yeah, it's a weird meld of a lot of different things where they kind of talk, and it's like, hey, do this, but no, I don't want to, and we're going to do this. So you get that, but it does dig deep into the family dynamic, and about an hour in, the movie actually gets going, and you stop being as annoyed at the sister that is possibly the most worthless character to ever get introduced in a movie.
Oh, God.
George Lopez, who's over the top until he just wears you out, and you're like, all right, this is the character. I'm good. I'm here. And then, but I laughed at spots. It got me to tear up a few times, like all
Okay.
stuff I didn't expect to happen in it.
Okay.
It would have been a great TV movie in a couple parts, like
Yeah.
it was supposed to be. But I don't know if it qualifies. It shouldn't have really been like released as a DC movie. I think James Gunn is getting a lot of flack for this movie that he doesn't deserve because they're all like, "This is James Gunn's first movie." Well, this movie
Uh,
was filmed 2 years before James Gunn ever got an offer to go work
It
for DC.
it just to squeeze in for a second, um, that's not even part of his DC universe.
I know, but every article I see
Already
is like James
Yeah,
Gunn. I'm like,
he's already come on record to say what the very first thing in his universe is.
yeah. And this one is,
It's gonna
he
be
said this
Creature
is the first
Command
character that will be in his universe.
Right, but Creature Commandos is his first actual
Right.
DC. He's only announced that and the Superman movie. But go ahead. I apologize.
No, no, no. Jump in, man. Those are the only two things that are currently with his stamp on them. But this character, I think this character will stick around. I don't think it's getting the right treatment. I think it'll blow up when it goes to home video. I didn't get the Ant-Man, like Dom saying in the chat. He felt like he was watching Ant-Man. I didn't get that. I got I got more TV movie, like, and
Right.
where and I got more Flash TV show where like this guy can't do it. His family needs to come save him. And all of us, and we get Ted Kord's kind of talked about, like he disappeared, and then they have, so when they do bring Ted Kord back, he's going to have to be old because he has a 24-year-old daughter in the movie, who happened to have a Brazilian mother, so she can also be Latin to be the love interest for Jaime.
Of course.
And then Susan Sarandon is the awful white woman.
Are they related to the Flash?
Seems like it. But Jaime, yeah, I feel like they did his character a disservice for like any kind of motivation or any reason to do it. Like there was no development for him. It was just all about family, and it's a family trope that we've seen 1,000 times played out in everything else.
Right.
And they kept trying to dive into like America's bad because we don't treat immigrants great, and they went deep on that a lot. Which I agree with, and I get it, but like they just kind of beat you over the head with it for a lot of the movie. So I think that didn't help to alienate a lot of the audience.
Gotcha.
Because and as crappy as it is, a lot of the Hispanic led movies with that as their backstory don't typically do well in the box office. That's just historically that's tended to be an issue. And I think that fell through to this. Susan Sarandon looks great, by the way.
Yeah.
Like looks phenomenal. I feel like the only person they could cast as Blue Beetle when they bring it back is going to be Joel McHale.
Because he plays a douche in everything.
No, well, you didn't watch Stargirl. He did play a douche on Stargirl, but he's also has some humor, and he's still built like a superhero because he's been working out like crazy for years now.
Yeah.
I feel like they could bring him in, and he would be the one to play Blue Beetle if they do anything with the character and bring Ted Kord back in, because
Right.
they need him to be older and look like you could have a 22, 23-year-old daughter. They did do some fun stuff with the family later on where like the grandmother was a revolutionary that nobody in the family knew. And like she gets a chance to wield a huge Gatling gun and is like all about it and is like, but they also play fast and loose where like the main core of the story is he's like, we don't kill to the symbiote, right?
Right.
But his uncle impales some random guard with the Beetle's leg and throws him off. And the grandmother just takes out an entire battalion with this Gatling gun and gets this like crazy maniacal look in her eye. And they're all like, we got to find out your backstory, Grandma. Is like the whole family is like, shocked and
That
confused.
could be
But
movie number 2.
yeah, it's not getting a sequel. But I think you could bring that character in and bring him in and out of other properties as we go. Like I said, unfortunately for his own solo movie, they didn't do enough with the character himself to give him a personality to bring in and out of other movies. It felt kind of like Dom said, this movie felt like it should have been a second movie, and then we could have gotten to know Jaime better as we got to this movie and actually gotten motivation for him. Out of 10, I give it like a 6. which is pretty good for me, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's just because there was times when I'm like, God damn it, why am I crying?
That's very high marks for you.
Because the family stuff actually did hit by the end. It just took it a long time to make it hit. Oh, and big props to the guy that I think is Daniel Gwilyn, who is Guillermo in What We Do in the Shadows. He's also in this as kind of the whipping boy from Susan Sarandon for the whole movie. But that was another one where they just kept making like this bad joke where she kept calling him Sanchez. It's not his name, but he's Hispanic, so she calls him Sanchez the whole movie. There's a lot of those things in it. It's like, but there, like I said, I give it a 6 because if it hadn't got me those couple moments, it probably would have been lower because they just missed on a lot of things they could have done to make the movie better. But the effects were great. I will give it that. I had no effects issues through it like I had the last 5 or 6 Marvel movies I've seen.
That's a plus.
But yeah, I'd when it comes out on video on demand in like a week.
See, now that I could sit and watch on a Sunday afternoon.
I would. It's a great TV watch. Like, you know how I love Venom because it's a great like, hey, have it on TV.
Yes.
Same thing with this movie.
I've also pushed all my chips in on the Phillies. So I'm like, if there's a game on, I'm watching it all the time now. And that does that.
I haven't missed a game in 3 weeks.
Now that eats up a little bit of time. And then I go to video games after that instead of sitting and watching more TV. So
they'd stop waiting until the end of the 8th inning to score would be great.
Yeah, they were down 1-0 when I started, when we started this tonight. Okay. The only other thing I have on the docket is the one thing I wanted to talk about more than anything since watching it. I have been chomping at the bit to get to Ahsoka, to watch it, to talk about it. I have some lists. I have some stuff written down because it's just not a straight line in their timeline unless you it is, and so I have that here. So before I even go into any of this stuff, what did you think of before we even talk about that, I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. Look, I'm excited. I never get excited. So now we're going to talk about Ahsoka. So if you have not seen episodes 1 and 2, which were released last week and come out on Tuesdays now?
Yeah, it'll be out at 9 p.m. Eastern time
on Tuesday
Pacific.
Right. So we're going to talk about that.
Frank. Pacific. Pacific is 6 on Pacific coast.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
I know. You called. You were very mad at 6 o'clock last Tuesday.
I was really pissed. I was like, I was sitting waiting. Like I was actually really excited for this. So
I was like, I'm gonna finish the Phillies game and then watch it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. What did you think of the first 2 episodes?
I thought they were good. I had no issues with them.
Is it the Andor of Ahsoka?
No. I did appreciate they dropped both episodes. So same as Andor, I felt like you needed both of these episodes to come out together. Otherwise, everybody would be like, this show's garbage.
Yep.
So I appreciated that aspect to it. But yeah, I thought they did good stuff with the characters. I'm not mad about any of the effects so far. I thought those were all well done. The practical stuff's good. I'm a huge Mary Elizabeth Winstead fan. I'm a huge Rosario Dawson fan.
I want to get this out of the way.
Ray Stevenson fan,
Before I thought they were all, the whole cast was phenomenal, but I want to get this out of the way before we jump into all the other stuff. There's a lot of videos going around, and there's a lot of people complaining that Qui-Gon got the worst end of the lightsaber deal. He's the only one to die from a lightsaber blade.
He's not. Obi-Wan also died from a lightsaber blade after being the biggest badass ever. It just whiffed his hair.
Yeah.
And he disintegrated.
Qui-Gon got stabbed in the stomach through the spine. Sabine got stabbed on the side, not directly up the middle of her stomach into her spine. The placement was specific, I think, on purpose
100%.
because of this. You remember, you got Dave Filoni writing this. It's not just a bunch of people. This is the guy that knows this better than anyone.
And look, it opened with a crawl and space and then a spaceship.
And then a spaceship. So here's some stuff that I wrote down before I get to my fun lists and stuff. The Loth Cat, Sabine's Loth Cat, not CGI, practical effect. Practical,
no kidding.
practical like baby Grogu.
It was adorable.
It was. Now, hopefully, it doesn't die because it's going to be left alone on a planet with nobody to feed.
That's fine. It'll be the hottest toy this Christmas.
When exactly does this take place? So,
Oof.
I did some research and I got some stuff. Rebels is set 5 years before the Battle of Yavin. That's BBY, as it's put. The epilogue of Rebels is set 5 years after the Battle of Yavin, or about a year after Return of the Jedi. These two episodes, the majority of this show is going to take place around 9 to 10 years after the Battle of Yavin, or about 5 years after Return of the Jedi. Right? Go ahead.
So when does Mandalorian take place?
I got that next. Ahsoka runs along the same timeline as Mandalorian Season 3, which is set roughly between 9 and 10 after the Battle of Yavin. 9 and 10 years after that. Okay. The Book of Boba Fett is set between Seasons 2 and 3 of The Mandalorian. You got all that now?
Yeah.
Okay. Ahsoka actually paused her search for Ezra and Grand Admiral Thrawn to help Luke start his school for the Jedi. So, these first two episodes are set between the end of Rebels and the epilogue, because obviously at the end of episode 2, you get the end of the epilogue scene. Go ahead.
So, and for those listening to the podcast later on, I'm raising my hand to ask questions. So if we're going by that logic,
yes,
then when did the episode that Ahsoka was introduced in Mandalorian Season 2 happen? Because that's when she captured the character that we are dealing with at the beginning here. So she's had her for years?
No. That capture was recent.
No, but she captured her in The Mandalorian.
Correct.
Right, but then you said she stopped searching after that.
To help Luke. So they captured her, put her on a ship, and then, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
It does not make sense.
Because if she's captured and on a ship, and that's when this first episode is.
Right. So that's between the end of Rebels and the epilogue of Rebels. So you're talking, and you have to figure in all that time, she trained Sabine at some point. So they're really cramming a lot into this small space right now. And I hope they make it make sense, because
and if they don't,
they don't.
You know who cares about the timeline? The people that sit online and write articles that don't have anything else to write about. They're like, timeline's all messed up.
Correct. Now,
this lightsaber was, if it was 3 centimeters more to the left, it would have been more realistic that it didn't kill. Okay, whatever.
I'm not going to go through this first list that I have.
It's a movie about magic people with Jedi swords, like laser swords. Like, calm down.
Dom had asked me if he needed to watch Rebels to understand this.
Yes.
Yes and no. You definitely needed Rebels to understand who the characters were in these first two episodes. And you do need Rebels to understand who Grand Admiral Thrawn is if you haven't read the books.
And Ezra,
yes. There is a list out there of the 10 Rebels episodes that you should watch that will catch you all up on this.
And there's like 20 Clone Wars episodes too. There's a lot of it. Their watch list is massive.
It is. So that I'm
which
definitely
is a bit problematic.
I'm not going to go through that. A couple of things that I noted that I really liked. I really absolutely grand slam out of the park Chopper.
Oh yeah.
Grand slam out of the park. And if you see the video where they decipher what he says when they're flying the ship to put the tracker on, it's even more hilarious.
Because he's still just talking shit like he always did.
He absolutely is talking shit. And Dave Filoni does the voice.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I'll have to go check that out.
I didn't know that either. But when she's telling him to look for the tracker and he's like, you went through my stuff. And she's like, I didn't go through your stuff. Did you look under here? And he's like, oh, there it is. And like it, but it's hilarious.
I did go back and watch, like I said earlier, the Tales of the Jedi.
Yes.
Because it's 3 episodes of Dooku. Which, by the way, if you haven't watched it still, you do find out what happened to Yaddle.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. They actually did a nice job with it, and season 2 of that comes out like in the next like couple months, I think.
Okay.
But and then there's 3 episodes about Dooku, 3 episodes about Ahsoka. So even that stuff is actually on the recommended watch before you watch Ahsoka.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, dude, those are 10-minute episodes. It's like take an hour and knock out Tales of the Jedi. It's
Okay.
that fast. They're super quick.
Cool.
And the Dooku stuff is great.
I know a little bit about the Dooku stuff, and it is really, 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 really good stuff.
But I think, as Dylan said in the chat, we're getting the Anakin flashbacks. I feel like some of those are going to be referencing what happens with Ahsoka and Anakin in the Tales of the Jedi.
Okay.
Because that's some from when she's first being trained as his Padawan, and his difference in training technique from that of the Jedi Masters and the Council, and the different approach that he took. But there's some good stuff in there.
So Dave Filoni he wrote the whole series, but he's only directing episodes 1 and 5. So my guess is that you're not getting Thrawn until 5.
And it's how many episodes? 9?
9.
Okay.
So I think they're going to tease it out there, and they're going to give you Thrawn and Ezra, or at least you're not getting Ezra till episode 5.
Well, we did get to see the actor at least. In the first one, we got the video representation for the hologram.
Okay. So here's another thing that I want to bring up before I go into my other lists. There's a lot of chatter about who she was fighting.
Who Marek is.
Right. It's not Ezra. It's not Starkiller. Ezra, it possibly could. So here's this site. Here's the 4 people they have listed as who it could be.
Okay.
Barriss Offee.
Oh. Interesting backstory with Ahsoka. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Marek could be Ezra turned to the dark side.
Yeah, but that wouldn't make sense to not have Thrawn yet.
No.
Though that would explain how that's where she got hit, because he didn't want to kill her.
No, the girl did that to her.
Oh, was it the girl? I thought it was the buddy. No.
Okay. Marek could be Starkiller. Absolutely no way in hell. And people are like leaning on the fact that Sam Witwer was listed as a voice actor in that episode.
That's one of the reasons.
There's zero chance that would be
Starkiller. Did you see the other reason?
No.
So Starkiller's parents, one of their last name was Marek.
Oh yeah.
So it's actually Starkiller's last name is Marek.
And the other one that this has is he could be connected to the Knights of Ren. I doubt that also. This could be possibly, I think, the 8th brother, I think, that was in Rebels early on. There was, I think, an 8th brother.
I don't remember that much of. I remember overarching concepts from Rebels, but not the specifics like that.
Right. Okay.
I don't think that it needs to be anybody.
It doesn't at all. It could be the engineer.
Because what doesn't make sense is why there'd be a Padawan and a Padawan.
Right. And now I don't believe...
Because it ruins the rule of Sith, right?
I don't think they're Sith exactly. I don't think they're specifically Sith. I think they're not Jedi, but they're like Ahsoka is more living in that gray area.
Well, and so definition with Sith, because you know more about the lore and stuff than I do. How could there be? Because Darth Sidious, right? Palpatine had Dooku, and Maul at the same time.
Well, but then Dooku died.
No, yeah, but Dooku.
Maul died. No, Maul didn't.
No, Dooku was his apprentice before Maul, which they actually get into in Tales of the Jedi.
Right.
And then Maul dies, and then
Dooku dies.
Right, but that means Palpatine had 2 apprentices.
He had 2.
And then he got Anakin as another, right? So it's the rule of 2, but the rule of 2 is weird. So I don't think that really matters, right?
So after Anakin, the only other Sith Lord around would be Kylo. Unless there's hidden Sith Lords laying around, because Darth Vader and Palpatine both die.
Well, no, Palpatine sort of died. Yeah.
Well,
spoilers for every Star Wars thing ever, by the way.
God damn, I hate referencing that movie. Yeah.
Rise of Rey.
Yeah.
Come on, there's gonna be a whole nother trilogy about it.
I know.
Yay.
Here's a couple of quick lists, right? Here's the 10 best and 5 worst moments from Ahsoka. Let's see if you agree. We'll speed
Okay.
through these. Best, the opening crawl.
Yeah, that was great.
Absolutely.
Though here's how bad it's gotten with these articles being written.
Yeah.
There's somebody that wrote about a dangling modifier in the opening crawl because they're so mad that it says the rumors were old and unfounded and not actually about I was like, oh my god, these people like, and it was like a 5-page article.
It's ridiculous
About grammar.
It,
And look, I clicked it because my newsfeed is dumb and doesn't know any better.
right.
And Google News is a lot, and there's only so many sites I can block a week.
I love Google News during the week. Now that okay. One of the best here is "We Are No Jedi." That's when Baylan Skoll says that we are no Jedi.
Yeah, which props to Ray Stevenson and also to them dedicating the 2 episodes to him.
So great in that. Best Ahsoka versus the HK assassin droids. That's a cool scene. I like that.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Hang on. Of course, this goddamn thing does this all the time. Best Ezra's message to Sabine. Yes, I'll give
it. It was nice. I don't think it provided context for anybody that wasn't familiar with Rebels, though.
No. Worst Sabine taking the map off the ship. Another map MacGuffin.
Yeah, look, did she need to go off the ship to think? Whatever.
No. Best Shin Hati tracking Sabine Darth Maul style. That was kind of cool. It was a nice little throwback.
Yeah, a little. Look, Filoni's got. It's going to be full of those. Like,
yep.
we're going to get all the references to all the things.
Yep. Sabine versus Shin Hati is listed as one of the best things in the episode. It wasn't bad. Okay.
Well, they had to establish that she was actually proficient with a lightsaber, which we actually got when she had the dark saber. So,
and people are all crying online about, oh, she doesn't have the Force. There's actually a line that Kanan says in Rebels that says that the Force flows through, and they've said this many times over the course of Star Wars. The Force flows through everything. So,
either way, it's not like she's doing Force choking. She's just using a lightsaber, which
one of the best for our friend Rey, as you mentioned. Yes, it was great. This has it the worst. Sabine survives being stabbed by a lightsaber. It's okay. It's okay. It's not real. She didn't really get stabbed.
It's
okay.
Necessary to move the plot forward and give an example of why she would be motivated again.
Here's another worst. Risking an explosion in a hospital. I thought that was awesome. I thought that was typical Sabine, if you've watched Rebels, where she's doing the thing with the droid head.
Yeah, so this Sabine doesn't have the, and maybe it's on purpose, but doesn't have the childlike exuberance.
No.
Or recklessness. Like the actress doesn't come across with that. Like, she's doing all the things that do it, but she doesn't portray like reckless and excited about to do, and just whatever. Screw you, I'm doing it my own way. Like, she doesn't. She's too emo. Too emo.
They tried to establish that reckless thing at the very beginning, with the 2 great cameos, by the way, Clancy Brown and the other kid.
Yeah, but and I don't. Like I said, they're doing all the things to represent it. She just doesn't act that way.
Right.
She's just the actress is a little more melodramatic and a little more emo than Sabine, who was a little like, I'm just gonna do it my own way, and like, but not out of attitude, out of arrogance, like whatever, and just not caring.
And the last 2 things on this list, one of the worst was the for the Empire scene, where they were at the shipyards. I didn't have a problem with it.
Oh, with the guy from House and Walking Dead and all the other things.
Yeah. And the last one is the last 2. The best is Ahsoka casually dodging the lightsaber, just like Anakin did in Clone Wars. That was kind of awesome.
Yeah.
And Chopper and Hera's banner, which was hilarious. All right, I have 2 more things to run through real fast.
All right.
Okay. I'm not going to go through the Easter eggs because that's silly. And Actually, I'm just gonna go through the last one. It's 16 questions
Okay.
after episodes 1 and 2. The other 2 things aren't so important. Is Peridia a galaxy or the name of a planet?
No idea.
I think they're introducing a whole new galaxy to give them space to do more stuff outside of what is canon in Star Wars now.
Well, and it was a wormhole, right? That took Ezra and
yes, it's so it looks like they're setting it up as the Pregaria's migrating path.
Yeah, so yeah, and that's fine.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Who does Lady Morgan keep saying Thrawn has been? Why does Lady Morgan keep saying Thrawn has been banished or in exile? That's odd wording.
Yeah,
that's odd wording. I do like the fact that she's one of the witches of Dathomir, though.
Yeah, it's nice to reintroduce the Night Sisters. And look, Filoni has every reason to because they were Filoni's baby.
Yep.
With everything he did with Savage Opress and all those characters during Clone Wars.
Who is Marek, the Inquisitor? That's either going to be a really awesome reveal, or it's just going to be this is the 15th brother. Like it's going to be like the engineer. It's going to be
right. Which are these because they're not Inquisitors we have so far. So I don't know where
he's dressed like an Inquisitor and he has the Inquisitor lightsaber.
Right, he is, but I mean the rest of them, the other two were not. So why is he working with them?
And their lightsabers aren't red as much as they are a little bit shaded more towards orange.
Well, they're what's the corrupted crystal, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Bled the crystal. That's what it is.
So Balin was a Jedi who survived Order 66, and now he has an apprentice. So how did that happen? I wouldn't mind getting a little blurb on how that happened.
I bet we get that in like Bad Batch or something.
Yeah.
I bet that character shows up, but now it's a shame because we won't get the voice unless it's already filmed. Who knows?
You never know. Will Hera's son appear in Ahsoka? I believe so.
Oh, he was in one of the trailers.
Yeah.
I think he was. I'm 90% sure he was in one of the trailers.
I thought he was too. Who is really calling the Lady Morgan since Thrawn isn't force sensitive? She keeps saying that someone's calling her and that it's Thrawn calling across the galaxies.
Yeah, but he's that other race we don't know a lot about still, unless you went into the Thrawn books.
I didn't.
No, I know. But I mean, the Thrawn books were great. But
could it be that's where the witches are from? That galaxy?
I mean,
ancient power.
Pretty locked in there from Dathomir, but there's no reason that she couldn't talk to Thrawn. Because we also don't know everything the witches can, the night or whatever
Correct.
Night Sisters could do.
So. This is a fun question. How many Imperial traitors are there in the New Republic?
I mean, we're still seeing them in Mandalorian, right? So it's not a surprise.
No.
Right? We have that whole subplot in Mandalorian that I guess will get explored someday.
And this one will get explored. What led to Ahsoka and Sabine's falling out? I also would like to know where she trained, because we know she did it with Kanan a little bit. But the way that the dialogue is going, it seems like they were almost closer than Master and Apprentice at some point, which
I hope not.
It's whatever.
They don't need it. They don't need it.
They don't need it. Is Sabine force sensitive? I think she's force sensitive. I don't think she's super strong in the force at this point.
Yeah, and I don't think she will be. I don't think you need that with the character, but there's no reason if she's a warrior and she's a Mandalorian, there's no reason she can't use a sword.
Who were the ancient people from a distant galaxy? I have 3 more left. How did the Great Purge of Mandalore affect Sabine? They really never mentioned that. And I don't really know if I care, to be honest.
No, and she was always a bit of an outsider from Mandalore.
Yeah.
Mandalore anyway.
Yeah.
Like she didn't want to go home. That's why Bo-Katan got the Darksaber. Anyway.
Yep. This one's a really good one. Will the entire Ghost crew join the search for Ezra? Do you think they bring Zeb into this? No? I
think our nod to Zeb was in Mando.
And Kanan.
Zeb I mean, Kanan's dead.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, and that would be great to see Freddie Prinze Jr. with a little ponytail.
I would be all for it.
I don't think Zeb comes in. Because they wrapped him up so nicely, it was actually kind of annoying even to see him in Mandalorian.
Yeah. And the last one is who will feed Sabine's cat while she's away. So
the mayor will take care of it.
Maybe that, and one of the other big complaints that I saw, people were like, "Where's the ghost? Where's the ghost? The ship? They're using this little ship." I don't think he was going to blow his load in the first episode with that. I think that's going to be a bigger reveal. Not so much a reveal, but that's going to be a bigger thing down the line. You're going to get that big. You're not. They put out. There's a Lego set. There's a model. There's all kinds of stuff.
No, why would Hera take the ghost just to fly her?
Right. Exactly. Why do you need to fly that down to? No, they were fine.
So Ahsoka's ship was being flown by Mace Windu and Count Dooku in the Tales of the Jedi series. So
is it really?
Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a scene in a lot of the Clone Wars stuff, that style ship.
And next week, hopefully, I want to get into more about her droid, who is like 100,000 years old.
Yeah, who was always the saber builder, who is brilliantly played by David Tennant, by the way.
Phenomenal. So for me, I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the 2 episodes. I got that high. It's I've been looking forward to all year.
I mean, I'll give it the same. It's only because I don't have anything to pick apart on it.
Yeah.
Because so I will say, the nice things about it is it felt like the original trilogy in the look and the feel and the outfits and like it felt like George Lucas's hands were all over, even though it weren't. But Filoni, it was finally getting to see Filoni not.
Yes.
Have other people push what they wanted on him. It was neat to feel like the color palettes, everything just felt very George Lucas OG Star Wars stuff, which was cool.
And if you're going to get a Zeb sighting, it'll be episode 5. You won't
probably.
If you do, it's going to be maybe a hologram communication between the two of them. Him not being able to join them because of his duties with the New Republic or something. That would be cool. I would be cool with that.
And we'll probably get the guy from Kim's Convenience Store that episode too.
Oh yeah, he's in it all the time. I like him.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all I got for that. That's the Ahsoka stuff.
Awesome. Check me out at Jack Kid Music. You can find out where I'm going to be at this weekend. It's spoilers. It's Percy and Doylestown, and everywhere else I'll be coming up. I got some more places downtown Philly I'm playing, all over the place coming up. And thanks for finding the Geek Spot. If you are listening after the fact, tell a friend on where to find the podcast. It's everywhere they can listen, and tell them to give us a review and a rating, and tell another friend.
We'll have videos soon, I promise.
Talk about buttered sausage, where it comes from. That's
it.